Now to start the review. The whole point of the montage was to kind of show you what the game looks like, how it sounds, like what's going on. There's a few issues, right? I'm not very good at editing, so maybe I didn't do it justice. You can tell me that down in the comments, but I tried to show how the game, kind of like feels, if that makes any sense. The music was pretty solid. I think the graphics are well done. The gameplay is extremely quick and aggressive. It's very nice, very crisp. I like it whenever you kill the enemies, you get like the little scores. I'll go into that more on later. Overall, I think that the game itself is solid, but I'm going to kind of go into depth and explain my problems with it and what I think I could have done if I were the developer, kind of try to fix some of the problems, and what I liked. You're already going to kind of know I like the music, but let's get to the next part. The first part's going to be gameplay. Now to start on the gameplay section. The gameplay, for one, is the reason why you want this game. It's so good. From the gunplay to just how it all feels, it's just perfect, in my opinion, for what they were trying to go for here. It kind of feels a lot like Fear, and that's something I noticed right away. The only difference is there's no reloading in this game, and you don't even have a left arm. What you have in your left arm is a cannon which you can use to destroy the environments, and I'll get more in that in a second. How you reload is, you don't. You take other people's weapons that they've already reloaded. So you kill somebody and you go up and you take their pistol. Now it's yours. Use it. It's pretty simple, but it's awesome. I don't think every game should be like that. I don't think the next Call of Duty should not have reloading, but I think it was very well done in this game. It makes you have to be aggressive. You need to, get up close. You killed somebody, go get the gun. And you go take it, and then you can, you got ammo back. It's great. And that's also another thing, too, is whenever you kill people, instead of getting a gun in this case for ammo, you kill them and you get health back. So if you're low, you kill somebody, you get their health. I don't know how it works, it just does. Cool, it's fine with me. Don't really need a reason. Same with your bullet time mechanic. You can slow down time in this game. That's why I said it's very similar to Fear. You can slow down time, and it's so badass. You can literally just dive into a glass window, go in there and just shoot everybody, just like in Fear. It's so badass. You feel like a god. It is some of the smoothest shit I've felt in a long time when it comes to gameplay. Not only that, another bonus is the destructible environments. You can destroy everything. If you see it, you can find a way to destroy it. I mean, there is a map, right? And then at the end of the map, it's just one giant box. That's all the maps are, and then inside they're designed, like a map. But until you hit those borders, you can destroy everything in there. And eventually, on your other arm, you'll get a cannon, which you can use to destroy little holes into walls. And that's how you can, destroy the environment more. Let's say someone's inside the house. Shoot the wall. Now there's a huge hole in there. Kill them. It's awesome. I love the indestructibility. It just makes it feel so much more, heavy. Whenever you're going through, you're jumping through a window, the glass is breaking, they're shooting all around you, these bullet holes are going in the wall, and stuff's getting destroyed, and it's just awesome. Especially whenever the flamethrower gets in. I've noticed that one likes to destroy the map more than any other weapon I've noticed. It's odd, but it's still awesome when they go in there and everything's just on fire and the map's being destroyed. Other than that, I don't really think there's anything else to do with the gameplay. It's very simple. Like I said, it's not a lot going on, but what's there is fantastic. It's a little bit of resource management and with the weapon, trading, but I love it. It's fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted out of this kind of game. Like I said, it's the reason why you want it. Now, next, I'm going to move on to visuals. Should be a pretty quick little category. So to start off with the graphics section, I'm going to talk about the performance. The performance was fine. I had a few issues here with stuttering, mostly whenever you first get into a new level. Whenever you first get on the game, you'll notice that for a little bit there you'll have stuttering. And with the ray tracing setting, I noticed that even if you're just doing nothing that intensive, you're just kind of in a room, sometimes you'll stutter for no reason. That could just be me though, every computer's a little different. And I played this on a 3060 Ti, so, I mean, there's that. The ray tracing setting is something I'll get onto right now. So the ray tracing in this game, I didn't notice any difference from the screen space reflections in the DirectX 11 version, which ran way better. In ray tracing, you're cutting your frame rates down by half. I honestly couldn't tell the difference. I didn't see any difference except for my frames, and so I'd always try to keep ray tracing off. Now, for little clips in the video, I did keep it on just in case someone else out there could see the difference. I couldn't, so I mean, there's that. But everything else it's pretty simple. Like, you can turn on screen space reflections, shadows, all that kind of stuff, but there's no, like, you can't really tweak with the shadow settings. You can't, like, tweak with the gore and, like, make it a little lower. You can do, like, reduced gore and reduced lighting and stuff, but you can't, like, it's very simple how the graphic settings work, but it gets the job done. And the game itself looks really good. There's a lot of colors, a lot of destruction, you know, the colors are vibrant and they pop. The reflections are amazing, man. Even without ray tracing, I was like really impressed. You could honestly tell somebody, hey, it's got ray tracing turned on, and they wouldn't know the difference. I think. I was just super impressed by the graphics, and it runs pretty well. I mean, I've had issues here and there, but I mean, the game still, you know, it's not like a AAA game, so I don't really expect like the perfect like optimization, but from what I've played, it runs pretty well. The only thing that's like super intensive is the gore. I've noticed, like, whenever you like blow someone up with a grenade launcher, which obviously it's gonna be intensive, it's just like, yeah, for obvious reasons. The gore is extremely good, but I don't think, honestly, when I first started playing the game, I don't think the setting was in yet. I think it was added in some recent update, because when I first played the game, I never noticed it, and now I notice like enemies exploding into giant gibs of blood, and, you know, like their meats flying all over the ground and leaving blood puddles. I never noticed that, so I will say the game currently is extremely violent, but I mean, you can turn that off and it's just like blood coming out of them, like no like limbs and stuff. Other than that, I'll say that's pretty much all there is to the graphics. I mean, the game runs, you know, decently well. The game looks really good, and you know, it's all, I give like the visuals overall like an 8 out of 10. They look good. And the cell shading mode too looks really nice. I, you know, prefer to keep it off, but I mean, it's there for people who like prefer that kind of art style. Now, for the next setting, I'm going to talk about the story. The story segment is going to be really short, as there's not really a lot to talk about, and I think that was almost intentional. Kind of like how Doom does it, where it doesn't like to tell you a lot of information, just gives you a goal, and bam, go out there, kill demons. Well, in this game, your goal is to just escape from this facility. And you start off in like a garbage dump without your left arm, and then you make it through, and it seems like your whole goal is to get out of this facility. Now, there's not, like I said, there's not a lot here. We know who the main character is. Her name is Steel, and that's about it. From what I can, you know, get from the game. I'm not gonna go Google on like fan forums and stuff like that to find out like all this extra information, but from what I could get just by playing the game, which I think a lot of people will do, there wasn't a lot. That's pretty much it, but I think it was an afterthought, because what they really focused on here was the gameplay, music, and graphics, and they excelled at those. They did really well. So I think this here wasn't more so like a flaw. It's just something they didn't really focus on. It's something you shouldn't really focus on if you're getting this kind of game. It's not what you're paying for. So for the next segment, I'm going to talk about what I feel like I could fix with the game, like kind of like some flaws, something like just little nitpicks I think I could really, you know, give my feedback on and help. I'm not a game developer. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. I just thought it'd be a little fun segment I could do, you know, for the fun of it, right? So now, for the nitpicks and dev mode section, let's start off with first the animations. Now, I didn't really mention this in the visual section because I didn't think it was that important, but something that did kind of bother me while I was playing was the animations for whenever you're picking up weapons and whenever you're throwing them. They just look really janky, and they didn't really ever look right to me. They always looked like they were off, and it's just something that always bugged me, but wasn't really worth like going fully in depth for. Something else is with the flame trooper guys. Now, there are 3 different like enemy types in the game that I can think of, are the grenade launcher, the flamethrower, and then you have the normal enemy. Well, with the flamethrower guys, they kill you almost instantly sometimes, and then other times they take a really while long to kill you, and it's something very odd I've noticed with just that specific like unit. It's just something that kind of, you know, bothered me a little bit as well. And then with other nitpicks as well, talking about sometimes how the lighting, and no matter like what I'll set the brightness to or I have to mess with it, sometimes the game will just be too bright and it'll be hard to see what I'm doing. Now, it could just be my monitor, but it was something I noticed here and there where my game would be too bright. And that's really all about I can think for the little nitpicks. But then we get on to the dev mode section, and this is something I've actually been wanting to talk about quite a bit. So for dev mode, and that's kind of what I'm calling this, I think the first thing I would try to do is add, for one, better enemy AI. And now, like I said, I'm not a programmer, I don't know how easy this would be, but I'd have the AI try to like take cover more. use the surroundings better and like work together, you know, a little bit better. Have like, you know, the normal troops kind of stand behind the grenade guys, so they're not like getting hit by each other and stuff like that. Now I've never really noticed like any enemy AI killing each other. I think they pretty much like they can't hurt each other, but it'd just be something else like to see for like immersion and all that kind of stuff too. Something else I noticed is whenever you are like going through and you're jumping through all these glass windows and stuff. Now it could just be me, but every time I did that I stuttered. Just a little bit. It was just a little bit, and it was enough to irritate me every time I did it, so I would deliberately not jump through that window, and I'd just kick down the door or something, which would also stutter, but that way I could actually, I don't know, it was just something that irritated me a lot less, and that's still a nitpick, but that's something I'd want to fix, specifically as dev mode. The animations and stuff is something I'd fix, but it's more so a nitpick than anything else. That is generally how I'm going to put that. And then something else I'd like to do, if I was the dev, I'd put a little bit more focus onto the arm like cannon mechanic. It just feels kind of bare bones, like they weren't doing enough with it. I would have really liked to see them go more with it, more in depth, add more levels where, you know, the arm cannon is your only use of getting around the map. It was something I wish I would have seen more, because you could beat all the levels pretty much except for like the final level where you need to break through these like walls, where I ever really needed to use it. I wish it had more uses. Now there are other arm cannons you can use, like this one where you can grab weapons from farther away and stuff like that, but for the main cannon I wish it had more purpose and more utility. It's just something there that I was like, ah, man, this is really, you know, feels wasted. It's just something so cool. It's like I can't reload because of this. I want to know, like, I want this to be worth it. Other than that, that's really all I can think of for like this dev mode section. The game is really good. Like, it's pretty damn solid. I can't really think of a lot I'd want to fix with the game. So now I'm going to move on to my final thoughts. Now I'm going to start off the conclusion by saying the game does have workshop compatibility, which is, you know, a big plus. Workshop compatibility just gives you like a lot of new fan-made content, like new maps and all that kind of stuff, and they're really good. A lot of these are better than the base game, if I'm being honest. I was blown away by some of them, with these really large, complex levels with some really good, you know, enemy placements. You know, but overall, the game was solid like steel. It was really good. From the graphics, gameplay, you know, music, it was all really good. There's some issues here and there, like AI and stuff like that, but those really are mostly just nitpicks and aren't going to really hinder your experience all that much. So that's really all I have to say about Severed Steel.